Algebra 2, chapter 7b, the second half, we're going to solve radical equations. You might have more than one solution, and we're going to see that happen today. By way of comparison, you might get no solution. You might come up with an answer that frankly just doesn't work. And here's what we're going to do. We're going to solve for x, where x is a real number. If there are multiple answers, more than one, we'll separate them with commas in Alex, and then otherwise we'd click on the no solution button. But to get rid of a square root, how would you get rid of a square root, do you think? Well, you would actually square. You'd raise to a power. You'd raise to a power. So if you have a square root, a second root, what we do, guys, is you go ahead and you just raise to that second power. Now, 15 to the second power, you're going to be able to quickly see is 225. Okay, so checking with the calculator here, like I said, if you went 15 squared, of course, you'd get 225. But you should always do a check. What you're thinking about doing is saying, if I plug in 225, do I really get the answer that I'm supposed to come up with? We're going to see already from the context of the directions that that's not always going to happen. So, when you take the square root of 225, I'll go second radical. You can see that it does, in fact, work out. You do get a 15, so this checks. Okay, so let's take a look at part B. And for part B, okay, what do you think? Yeah, no solution. Can a radical equal something negative? No, you can know right off the bat that this is going to be no solution. If a square root equals something negative, you know something is wrong. But now look, even if you missed that, what you'd have to do is square both sides. When you're squaring the right side, it's negative 10 times itself. That would get you 100. And you would think, squaring a square root makes the square root go away. You'd say, oh, x equals 100. But let's do a check. Would the square root of 100 equal negative 10? And the answer very clearly is no. Because look, as we do that right here, you can see it's actually positive 10. But what we just saw a moment ago is you can know right from the beginning that there's no solution when your radical equals something negative. Okay? Take a look at number 2. Solve a radical equation. Solve for y. What you want to do is always get your radical alone. It's not alone. It's not by itself. So how do we get it there? What should we do first? Add a 2. On the left side, you can see I highlighted in green that radical y plus 15. But we also have that minus 2. We don't want to see the minus 2 there. So you add the 2. 5 plus 2 is a 7. And then you've got your radical alone. Always get your radical by itself. And then what do you think we're going to do? Well, no, we can't subtract. The 15's trapped inside that radical. We're going to square. We're going to raise to that second power. And 7 squared is going to get you 49. That's 7 times 7. We're going to minus a 15. And you can see real quickly that would be 34. Now, we should do a check. You're saying, does this really work? Well, you can check it on the calculator, too. The big question, let's get that calculator out. And we can say, does the square root, and underneath the square root, we've got 34 plus the 15. And then I'll move that out. I'll hit the right arrow and do a minus 2. Would that really equal 5? It does. And that means we're okay. We do have that for an answer. Okay? Take a look at number 3 with me real quickly. For number 3, I've got radical 10 minus 3w equals 2. And from here, we're going to just square both sides. My radical is by itself, and I want to get rid of that radical. To get rid of a square root, we have to square, and then we'll have 10 minus a 3w. Squaring a square root makes it go away. And then we should solve. What do we do to solve? What should I do to both sides? Not add 10. It's already a plus 10. Minus a 10, right? And that will cancel out, and then we'll have negative 3w on the left side. 4 minus 10 would get you negative 6. Then I'm going to divide by a negative 3 on both sides. And what's negative 6 divided by negative 3? A 2. Now, again, you have to be very careful. You should do a check. You don't know if you're going to get a no solution here. And the question is, when I plug in w equals 2 here, does it work? We can check this on the calculator, and let's see what we'll get. Square root of 10 minus a 3 times 2. And just see what we should get. We should get a 2. We do. It checks. And that is your answer. Going to the back page here, it's a solving a radical that simplifies to a linear equation with 2 radicals. Guys, if you've got a radical on the left minus another radical, let's go ahead and actually do some work to get some things to cancel out. Okay, so what we're going to do is actually get this second radical on the right side. Just want to have one radical on a side at a time. So add that radical 3u plus 14, and then guess what we're going to do to both sides? Might have a guess. We're going to square. Guys, as we're going to square, what's going to happen? Left side, the square root goes away. And we'll just have u plus 2 is equal to 3u plus 14. What do you think we'll do next? Well, subtract the smaller variable, right? The 1u right here is smaller than a 3u. Let's get rid of that. And then at this point, we can go ahead and minus a 14. 2 minus 14 is negative 12. Divide by 2, and u would equal negative 6. Here's the big question. Should we just stop here? We haven't been. What have we always followed up with? A check, right? You need a check. And the big question is, when you plug in negative 6, will that work out? Guys, I think you can see already we're going to be in some trouble. Look, if we plug in the square root of negative 6 plus 2, that's going to be something negative. And of course, you could go ahead and type out this other part, 3 times negative 6, and then plus a 14. You're going to get an error. You're getting an error because you can't have a negative inside of that radical. What should we write for our answer then? No solution. It doesn't check. Every step that you've done is correct. You've solved correctly. But guys, you're going to see that not every answer is going to work. You have to be real careful about that. Okay, we've got a couple more problems and then we're through. As we look at 5a, you only have one radical in the problem. It's all by itself. Tell you what, let's square both sides and see what's going to happen. Squaring the right side, you just get x squared. square the left side, you'll have 9x minus 18. And this will be a quadratic. I'm going to bring the 9x over. I'm going to minus a 9x. I'm going to add an 18 over here. And this is where we're going to do some review. We're going to have to factor. We're going to have to factor this, guys. So I'm going to bring this back up here. The middle number tells you that you have to add to negative 9. The last number says you have to multiply to an 18. So I'm looking for two numbers. You might remember this, and it's kind of like making that wheel that we've done in the past, where you can say, well, wow, can you get two numbers to multiply to 18 but add to a negative 9? Any ideas as to what numbers might do that? Negative 3 and a negative 6 is right. Negative 3 times negative 6 is a positive 18. Negative 3 plus negative 6 is negative 9. Then we take both of these and we set them equal to 0. And it's so tempting to say, hey, we're done. I think all of us would love to be able to say, hey, this is it. We're going to be through. But honestly, you got to do a check. We're going to check if x equals 3 works. Let's see if we get 9 times 3 minus 18. Would that really equal 3? And we're also going to check x equals 6. And we're going to have to see if 9 times 6 minus 18 would equal 6. So get your calculator out and let's see. Let's see where we're going here. We can go second square root here, 9 times 3, then minus an 18. Just let the calculator do the whole thing for you. Hey, it works. It checks. That's great. Then what? Well, tell you what, how about we do second enter to bring back what we just typed in. We can just change that to a 6. We're going to hope that our answer this time is a 6, and it checks. Both of them are good. Your answer would be 3, 6 in Alex. Now, you probably would not be surprised to hear that that's not always going to have both checked. Last one. Tell you what, we're going to square both sides. And you'll have x squared is equal to 3x plus 4. Tell you what, I'm going to minus a 3x. Simultaneously, I'm going to minus a 4. And we'll have x squared minus a 3x minus a 4. And here's the wheel. You know that you're going to multiply to negative 4. You know you're going to add to a negative 3. What numbers would combine to do that, do you think? You got to multiply to a negative 4, but you have to add to a negative 3. A 2 and a 2 won't do it, will it? 1 and a negative 4. 1 times negative 4 is negative 4. 1 plus negative 4 is negative 3. So we've got x plus 1. We've got x minus 4. Set both of those equal to 0. And it only takes you a moment to get x equals negative 1. Here you add a 4, you're going to get x equals 4. Guys, if you're on your toes, you're going to know that negative 1 is going to get you into trouble. You're saying, hey, when I plug in negative 1, will this work? A square root cannot equal something negative. So you're going to see, if we just typed in this square root, 3 times negative 1, and then we add a 4, you're going to see that we're in trouble. That's a positive 1. We get an answer, but it's not equal. It doesn't work. So please be careful. This is one of the biggest mistakes people make. They don't do a check. The negative 1 actually doesn't work. Let's check the 4. If we plug in a 4 on the right, and if we have over here 3 times 4 inside the radical plus 4, let's just do a second enter. and just bring this thing back, hit delete and type a